Hey guys, welcome to the stream. I hope everybody's doing good. Hopefully I was on time with this one. It looks like they might actually have the YouTube has the playback thing working today, so they've been making improvements. I see the chat is already going strong, so welcome. Happy Friday. So today what we're going to do is work with some chameleon chameleon flakes. So I saw Ben over at Bens Worx doing some, he was making dragon skin is the video that I saw this on. And it's a slightly different type of product than just like the chameleon powder or color shift powders. So I thought we'd give it a shot. Ben's actually got a discount code, so I'm going to give you guys a link to his channel for anybody that's watching this back. I also have a link down in the show notes. But there's a link to his channel, and most of you guys that follow me most likely know about Ben. He does some really awesome resin projects, so if you haven't seen his channel yet, definitely go and check it out. You're going to fall in love with it. He's got a bigger channel than me, does all kinds of really cool stuff. He's really well known for the dragon eggs. He does tons of those, and he's got a bunch of them for, like, he sells them on Etsy and all that stuff. But he does some really cool projects, and he has excellent quality videos. So go check him out, and like I said, there's a discount code for solar color dust on his channel. I think it's in the dragon scales video, or what is it called? Dragon scales. I might throw a link up on that too. Oh, don't listen to Ben. Why does it always play, right? Yeah, there's a link in that one. So here's the link to that video. Just so you guys, for ease of use. There we go. So go check out that video, and in his description he's got a link, and I actually used his link for a discount code. It was 5% off my order for solar color dust, which is fabulous. So we got some chameleon flakes, and I thought we'd have a little bit of fun. So we're going to do some experiments with them. Like I said, I think they're a little bit different than what I'm used to with just the powders. The chameleon powders, or I sell the color shift powder. I think that's pretty much the same as chameleon powder. That stuff's super fine, so it's like a mica powder. You just add it to your resin and it does some effects. The chameleon flakes, the way he's using them in his videos, he's actually painting them on burls. So kind of like the dragon eggs or the dinosaur egg things that we made on this show. He kind of does it that way. So I thought we'd try it out, see how it works. I have some pretty cool things though. I'm going to switch cameras real quick. That we're going to use them on. So here's the little goodies that I got. I haven't even opened them yet. They just come in a little jar. The nice thing is they're pretty cheap too. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to lose some sales on my powder, but this is a different product than what I sell, but they're pretty cheap. I think they were only like $5 or something each. So you get a little jar of it. There's not a whole lot in there, like compared to the blue to purple color shift powder that I sell. You get a lot more of it, but pretty cool. So we got a couple jars of it, and then I thought I had this chunk of cholla cactus hanging out for a long time. I actually got this from Deranged Donkey, I think, over on Instagram. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to paint some of this, the flaky stuff, the chameleon powder flakes in the holes. And then what I was thinking about doing was just tossing that in a 3-inch pipe. So we should get some kind of cool color shift stuff going on, and I haven't really used that on cholla. So that should be kind of a fun one. I also have some pretty cool looking burl chunks. Now, the reason that I pulled these out, you can see in that cavity, it's not really super amazing. It's kind of just like black. It almost looks like it's charred in there. And I got some crusty stuff from the cactus juice that I could only get so much off of that surface. So I got a couple pieces of this where it's, like I said, kind of darken those crevices, and I thought it'd be really cool to paint on some color shift powder, add a little bit of color into that, and then the burl's already kind of cool looking. It's got a lot of color in it. Let me hit it with some denatured alcohol real quick so it'll kind of pop those colors of the dye stabilized stuff. I think it'll kind of really match up with the color shift stuff that's going on, and it kind of has a dragony scale looking texture to it. So a little bit of color. It's a little bit on the darker side with the colors in this, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to, like I said, especially this big cavity, add some of that really cool color shift stuff, and we should get some neat looking blanks. I don't know. Now the third test that I want to do is Let me stop and switch to this. That's the wrong view, guys. The third test that I want to do is just dump it in resin and see what happens. Because like I said, it's a different type of product than I use for color shift powder for like the twilight blanks and that stuff. It's a little different, so I just want to toss it in clear resin, see what happens, see how it works basically, because I haven't actually seen that done yet. I've seen it basically just painted on. The only person that I know of that's used it offhand is Ben. So I got 3 tests, some Chameleon Flakes, so it should be a pretty fun little Friday, I think. So let me stop real quick. We did a little bit of that intro, and let me just see what the chat is doing in here. Man, you guys are flying by with the chat. Let's see if I can kind of peruse this and see if there's anything that I'm missing. Joel from Yuma, how's it going? Mert's on time today. Nice. Glad you could make it. And Mark Lingle's here. How's it going, dude? Glad you could join the fun. I hope I pronounced your last name right. Lingle? I'm terrible with names. Let's see here. Lots of people. Dave and Mike and Gus. First time. Nice. I'm glad you could join the fun on Friday. A little bit of live stream action. Let's see here. Doug's here. That's good to hear. Let's see here. Just built your first pressure pot, or first pressure pot. Nice. I'm glad that it helped out. I'm glad that you got it set up. Now the fun's starting. That's always cool. It's always fun hearing from people that are, either just got their first, batch of resin, or they just set their pressure pot up, because I know how that was when I got started, and I know how much fun ensued after I got everything kind of set up and got going. So that's why I'm doing this now, because it's fun. So good luck, have fun with it, experiment often. Let's see here. Just the king of the unicorns. Yeah, those videos, I haven't gotten through Richard's video yet, totally. So I need to go back and check that out. But I saw Doug's and it looked good. Nice. All right, so I'm having trouble actually reading today, but sorry, guys, if I missed something, let me know. Rich, oh, nice. Yeah, I got an email from Tara. Thanks for getting a hold of me. Sorry, my contact form is very, it locks things down. I had problems with spam with people, and so it's pretty uptight about who it lets through. Sorry about that. But it generally kind of works out in my favor. It really keeps all the junk out of there. Let's see here. Clay. Let's see here. All right. So I don't think I missed anything. Hey, Julie, how's it going? All right. Oh, look at that. How's it going, Julie? Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. I was actually just looking at your name when I first said that, and then I saw this super chat pop up. Thank you. I appreciate it. So it looks like Julie's going to get in the action on which colors we pick when we get started casting. So that's just to let you guys know, the people that super chat get first dibs on picking colors for the resins. So let's see here. Other news, I have made a little headway on the Mr. Pumpkin. So I'm going to switch to this view. I'm not going to give you too much of a look at it. There's really not even a whole lot to show yet. But it is on the lathe. And it is pretty much hollowed out at this point. Now, one of the problems that I had, you guys saw if you didn't see it, go back and watch the casting of this. I'm going to try and kind of spin it around a little bit. There's not, like I said, not a lot to see. I'm not going to really go into much detail because I'm doing just a regular video on it. But I got it all hollowed out. Everything's looking good in there. It's all nice and kind of fairly smooth. Now, here's the thing. I'm just going to give you guys, like I said, you'll have to watch the video when it comes out, but for all the juicy details. But I keep doing this casting. Intro camera. The problem that I had, if you guys did watch the stream, I was kind of like flipping out at the end. I was hurrying, and it felt like it was starting to set up. It was a lot of resin, and I always get kind of freaked out when there's a lot of resin because I don't want it to set up. So I was kind of trying to rush things at the end, getting it, into the pressure pot and all that stuff. And I really probably, looking back, should have cut those little metal bars so they wouldn't be a problem at all. But what ended up happening was, in my rush to get it in the pressure pot and just get the lid on, and like I said, I wasn't really thinking, I was hurrying. What happened was that jug thing that I put in the middle to take up space, it was pretty far off center, and it really made things a lot more difficult than they had to be when I had to hollow that thing out, because it had a ton more material on one side, so it was like way off balance. And that kind of, I didn't really think about that at the time when I was hurrying trying to get it in the pressure pot. So if you guys do something like that, really try your best to get that, if you're putting something in the middle to take up space, especially something that's going to just create a cavity. It wouldn't have been so bad if it was just a big chunk of wood, but there was just a big cavity, and there was a lot more resin on one side than the other of the blank, and it was like wobbling. Not very fun to turn, also because you're basically, it's like, I don't know what type of turning that is, but if there's a void in the thing you're turning, that means that it's going chunk on your turning tool. So it was kind of problematic, but I got through it and everything's good to go. Oh, nice! Thanks, Jen, for the super chat. You are also hooked up with color picking when we get into the colors. Now, we may not do colors in some cases. We may want to just do kind of clear or whatever, but you guys will kind of have access. You'll be able to dictate what we do with these blanks. Oh, and Anna too. Wow, everybody's super chatting it up. I appreciate it, guys. You guys are so awesome. So let's see here. Wooden from Washington State. Nice. Washington State wooden. Nice. So you're just up the coast from me. That's cool. All right, so let's see here. Let me think about what's going on. While I'm thinking, I'm going to take a drink. So what are you guys working on while I'm kind of gathering all my thoughts about what we're going to do first? What are you guys working on in your shop this weekend? You got anything cool that's on the bench, on the lathe, on the casting desk, casting area? Water is so good. I guess while we're kind of messing around, while I'm waiting for some responses on that, I'm going to open up all these jars. I'm actually gonna, I'll get this camera over here so you can kind of sort of see what I'm doing instead of just the back of my head. Why? I really just need to take this view out of the thing. All right, so we got 1, 2, let's see here, and I need to keep an eye. I want to let you guys know which ones we're using. So, this one must be blue, purple, red. This one is gold yellow, gold dash yellow / green / blue / purple. This thing's got it all. Let's see here. So I got 4 of these colors. Just thought I'd try out a couple of them, see how they work. We got, ooh, this one's pretty. We got forest, purple, red, and I'll get a close-up so you guys can kind of see what's going on. I just want to get them opened and make sure I'm not mixing them up. And then we got gold green, gold dash green, purple, blue. So let me get this camera over here where I can see what's going on. And so this is the gold, green, purple, and blue. So you can see it on the side. There you go. That's looking pretty cool. And we got forest, purple, red. So you might notice, if you just look at the bottom, you're kind of seeing like one color. You'll probably notice when it's on curved surfaces, this stuff really looks great. And this is kind of the same type of thing that, you see some of the cars that are painted where, it looks like it's blue when it's coming up on you, and then when it drives away, it's like, green or something like that. It works really well on curved things like cars and that stuff. So just to kind of give you guys a heads up, flat surfaces don't work so well with these color shift things. At that point, they need to be like moved so the light hits it different. This one is blue, purple, red. Trying to look at that. It's a little bit less, there's a little less popping out at me when I look at this, but I think it'll probably still look pretty cool. And then we got gold yellow, green, blue, purple. This thing's got a lot going on here. There's a lot of colors happening. All right, so those are our chameleon flake choices. Thomas, helping an apple harvest blank. You're fighting an apple harvest blank. What's happening with the apple harvest blank? What's going on, man? Let's see here. 3 dragon pens you need to turn. Oh, nice. I guess I'll switch. I keep doing that. God. Working on some toys to give away. That's a good project. Making another blank. Man, Doug, you just keep making stuff, you know. It's hard to keep up. Let's see here. Trying to build a pressure pot. Nice. Have to use fire to get the old fitting. Oh, yeah. Sometimes those old fittings are tough. It's a good idea to use. You can maybe even just use a heat gun on that. You may not necessarily need, like, you know, a flame, like a torch. Let's see here. Ooh, Andy's over in Iceland. That's cool. I would like to see Iceland someday. Sounds like a place I could have some fun at. I don't know what I was trying to say. Polishing the Star Wars cube. That's cool. That one was a really cool project. Nice. Let's see here. Let me scoot back down here. Like the new skin for your lathe. Yes, yes. Let's see here. There's no pink. No, they didn't. I don't think they had any pink color shift stuff. I didn't see that. That would have been a good idea, though. I'll have to go back and look. I didn't. If they had it, it didn't really like pop out. Like the pictures they had didn't pop out. I tried to pick the 4 that looked the best, basically. Apple harvest blanks are way too soft. I don't know what apple harvest blanks are. No shop time. Oh, man. Well, that's a good thing that you're doing. Making resin gear shifters. Nice. That's cool. So it sounds like everybody's having some fun. So let's, why don't we just go for, let's do some painting. Let's do this choya first. It's going to be a relatively straightforward casting. You know, there's not a lot to it. So what I have here, and I'm a little bit bummed that I don't have the stuff from Chad yet. I think that he should have that up. Actually, I'm guessing it's probably not up, but the little silicone plugs that he's making, he's going to have them for 3-inch and 4-inch pipes, but he didn't have them yet. He sent me a bunch of them earlier that I tried out. I love them, but he didn't have those, the bigger ones. So we're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way, what I call the old-fashioned way. And in some cases, this still may be the way to go for hot gluing stuff. The one thing I haven't tried yet, because I didn't have the bigger silicone plugs that he's going to come out with, I don't know if you can really hot glue something down to one of those silicone plugs. But it does work fairly well on HDPE. So all we're doing, we got a 3-inch pipe, and we're going to hot glue it down to a piece of HDPE. And then we're also going to hot glue our piece of choya down onto the HDPE first. And that way it's not going to float or move around or anything. In this case, I doubt that it would make any difference if it did, but still, I'd rather just kind of have it set in place. So what I'm going to do is set up the camera. My idea is I want to grab some of those chameleon flakes, and I think this is a good one that we can actually get a few different colors on this, and I think it'll be kind of cool. Like we can maybe kind of work on different sides with different colors of it. And then, you know, paint that stuff on. And I think what I'm going to do is probably just use, let me think about this now. There's a couple different ways that I go. Ben, over at Bens Worx, he's found a UV resin. He uses UV resin to paint on his stuff. He does a lot of the dragon eggs where he's painting onto burls. And he's found a UV resin that works with the casting resin that he uses. Now, the one question I have is I don't know if he, you know, cures the UV resin and then like sets it aside for 24 hours or something like that before casting or what, but it seems like he doesn't get any problems. Now, I tried to use the Alumalites UV resin, and I've painted it on, and I got like that kind of weird cracking stuff that I've had if you try and seal something with CA glue. basically it's telling me that there's some sort of an adhesion issue, and I don't know if that is because of Alumilite being the casting resin that I used, or I don't know. It may be just the Aluma UV doesn't work too well. There's lots of different types of that, but it's one of those things that I don't really trust them, so I don't think I'm going to use that myself. But it is, I like the idea because you have unlimited working time, and then you hit it with a UV light and it cures. So in theory, it's supposed to work. You know, that's kind of the best of both worlds. But I don't have one that I really trust or know works. So what we're going to do is we're going to use probably some either 5-minute epoxy. I think that's probably the easiest way. That works no matter what. And it's compatible with epoxies or, you know, even polyester resin, I think, and definitely with Alumilite. So we're just going to mix some of the Chameleon Flakes in with the 5-minute epoxy and then start painting it all over our piece. Now, another thing you could do is you could probably just go with Alumilite Clear. That would probably work as well. I don't know. I'm just trying to... In fact, I think let's do that. Let's go with, and I'm even just going to use the Alumilite Clear Slow set. I would probably recommend going with the regular set for something like this, being a thin layer, but I think it'll be fine. So we'll have a little bit more working time using Alumilite compared to 5-minute epoxy. So let's get the camera set up over here, and I'm probably going to get like a bench to sit on a little bit and try and make things a little bit comfortable. And we'll just, we'll have some fun painting. I'm also going to get my phone out so I can try to keep an eye on the chat. Sometimes it's hard when I'm just, let's see. Let's see here. Sometimes it's a little bit hard for me to keep up on the chat when I'm like painting something. But, anyway, you guys, oh my God. Sorry, guys. It always goes to like loud mode when I turn things on. All right, so let's get this going. I got my thing going on. Skip ad. There, I can kind of see the chat, and we got our things. So I think let's have a little bit of fun with each one of these colors. How about that? Let me get the casting camera out because we're actually going to get some resin set up here. You could use epoxy as well for something like this to paint it on. The only issue is if you're going to use something that's like a 45-minute working time or longer, you're going to be waiting quite a while before you can really cast it. Now, the beauty of 5-minute epoxy or just using like Alumilite or something like that is you can literally just paint it on, and when it's kind of set up and it's not moving anymore, you're good to go. Like you can just cast right away. Some of the other things you got to kind of wait for it to like set up, and there's some issues. I definitely wouldn't recommend using CA glue. Even if it's fully set up and cured, I've run into problems with bonding issues with Alumilite at least, and I think epoxy as well. So I don't really recommend using CA glue to like seal stuff down on something that you're going to cast. So let's see here. Let's just do, I'm just going to do one at a time here, I think. And I've never used this before, so let's just kind of go like that. So I'm just going to get this little cup out. We're going to put in, I don't know how much resin we're even going to need really. So let's just do 20 grams. We're going to do 10 grams of part A or 15. And in this case, I'm going to add a little bit more part B to the mix. I just find that way you kind of helps to ensure that you don't get any kind of white streaks. Now we're going to be adding, chameleon powder to this, so I don't really think it's a big deal, but I usually like to put a little bit extra part B in anything that's going to be dead clear or smaller amounts. It just helps out. So we're doing 15 and 16. So 15 grams part A, 16 part B. But this only applies to Alumilite Clear, okay? So either the slow set or the regular. This does not apply to any epoxy, any of them. Does not apply to Amazing Clear Cast. It does not apply to polyester resin or any, that's kind of a different animal anyway, but just Alumilite Clear. That's the only thing that you're going to use that extra part B thing on. I'm just going to mix this up. And some people like to put, you know, mica powders or you know, maybe the flakes and kind of like mix things into the part A, let's say the, you know, one part first and then add your part B. My only issue with that, and there's nothing wrong with that, but the problem is, or the reason that I like to mix up my resin first in most cases, unless I really need extra time, is you can tell, especially with Alumilite, you can tell when you're done mixing, or when there, you know, if there's no little wispy trails going on in there, then you've mixed it thoroughly and it's ready to go. If you've put a bunch of stuff in there, you know, dyes or mica powders or whatever, and you can't see the resin, then you really have no clue, and you just got to make sure you mix it properly. I just kind of got in the habit of just mixing it up first and then adding the stuff for most things. Just because you're pretty sure that you've mixed it well. So we've definitely mixed that well. Let's go with, let's see here, and I've mixed these things up. I really want to see this blue, let's see, is it blue? The forest, purple, and red. I really liked the way that looked. I don't know if this camera is going to really pick this up very well or not. It generally doesn't. But I love you, camera. You're terrible. So this is the forest, you know, whatever, forest, purple, red. So basically green, purple, and red. And what I'm going to do is we're just going to dump a bunch of these flakes in. So I'm actually going to switch to the other camera real quick here. Turning. So that you can see what's going on with these flakes. They're kind of like Mylar flakes or something like that, you know? So it's almost more similar to my Stardust, you know, flakes or powder that I have, the glitter things. It's kind of like more like a glitter in a sense than the mica powder color shift stuff. So I really need a camera crew over here. Oh, I'm spilling them. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to get my cameras fixed. There we go. Okay. Trying not to waste any of this good stuff. So we're going to dump in probably a healthy amount of flakes into this. This was way too much resin. Note for the future. That was too much resin. Yeah, so they're just like flakes of, you know, like glittery kind of stuff. So you got to be kind of careful if you sneeze. I'm actually going to dump some of this out because that was like way too much resin. That was like 30 grams. So I'm going to drop this down to 10 grams of resin. So go back over to the thing. Sorry, this is kind of a nightmare for trying to get camera footage of all this stuff. I'm going to zero that out. We're just going to put 10 grams of resin in here because I think that's really all that I need. Otherwise, I'm going to have to put a ton of these flakes in. Okay, so we're at about 10 grams there. I'm just going to put that aside for now. Now, let's go back. Now I got to move the camera again. Try and get some light on the situation. Nope, my light's all broke. There we go. So now we're going to put a couple. Oh, see, if you can't breathe, don't don't breathe or laugh, guys, because it'll just go flying everywhere. Oh man, there's little glitters flying all over my shop at this point. Don't breathe, don't laugh. Do not laugh when you're using these. All right. So it's getting pretty close at that point. I'm going to, oh. Well, that's going to be kind of hard to do anything about. I'm going to put a little bit more in here. Okay, don't breathe. So that's looking pretty good. Honestly, I think next time I'm just going to go with 5 grams of resin because otherwise you really got to like dump the whole jar in to really get it like fully saturated. So we got that going. Let's move. Yeah, I think I'm going to move to this other camera. Let's see here. There we go. And I'm going to get a little paintbrush out. Let's see here. I have these little makeup brushes. And I think that's going to work really well for this. Let's move our stuff. Don't breathe or else you'll lose your glitters. Okay. I'm just going to kind of try and paint on some of this stuff. Now, like I said, I think you really want to go with even less resin than that. So we're learning as we go. We're learning. At the same time, I think it's going to be kind of cool, even if it's not totally saturated. They'll kind of end up pooling in these holes. And I think we're still going to get a cool effect. But I think for the best effect, you really want to saturate your resin with these flakes. I don't know for sure, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, I really think we need to add more flakes to this. Let's see how that changes things. There, that's looking a little bit better. Seems a little bit more saturated. Okay, so let's add some more in some of these little holes here. Definitely think we want to go with more next time. Nope, it's kind of dripping and running. That's okay though. So I'm going to kind of hold this guy up for you guys so you can kind of get a closer view of what's going on in there. I'm just kind of adding some of this stuff, and I'm hoping that it'll be kind of cool. Now, one of the issues with this, I'm going to put this in a 3-inch pipe, so it's a little bit bigger than this piece, but you do risk cutting into this stuff a little bit, and these holes aren't that deep. So that's one issue with this idea, but depending on what kind of project we actually do with it, that may change. It may not really come into play so much. That's looking pretty cool, I think. What do you guys think? I can kind of see the chat, sort of. I don't want to get resin all over my phone, but... Oh, there we go. Glitter never goes away. The thing is, I've just at this point, because I make, the glitter pen blanks and all kinds of different stuff that, it's like whatever. Grab an air hose and just blow it out, and it'll go somewhere. If you have a jealous significant other, though, you may not really want to get glitter all over yourself and then go home or walk in. They may say, where have you been hanging out? This is actually looking pretty cool so far. Making these little pools of this stuff. You can see it's still floating around. Kind of need to get a clamp because this thing keeps rolling around and the stuff is moving around with it. There. All right, so I'm going to get a little bit more. I'm going to go for 5 grams of resin in another one. Fortunately, I have some more of that glittered resin. We're going to have to kind of waste that, I think. So I'm over here. Let's see here. I can switch views real quick. I'm over here. We're gonna mix up some more resin. This time I'm gonna mix up a lot less. I'm gonna mix up like 10 grams. Or yeah, about 10 grams is what I'm gonna mix. 5 and then 6, so 11 total, and then we're going to kind of dump out just about 5 of it into another thing and let's see here, and mix in some different color. There we go, 6. Okay. Okay. Surely have to do it over a few days, as what you paint will run as you turn the piece. Are you talking, is that directed to me? This stuff is going to set up in 20 minutes, and then we're going to cast resin around it. So if it was directed at me, then no, this stuff will set up fine. Let's see here. And then that's another reason why I oftentimes will just use 5-minute epoxy, because that stuff sets up fast. The problem is you only have 5 minutes. You know, you really got to move kind of quick. Alumilite clear regular set, that gives you about 7 to 10 minutes depending on the temperature. So that's a pretty good option. I don't have any of that on hand, I don't think. Ooh, that's kind of cool. What is this one? Blue, purple, red. Let's go with blue, purple, red on this one, and I'm gonna do it over on this casting area over here. Add the flakes. Nope, that's the wrong one. Okay. One other tip: put a lid on your glitters before you sneeze and blow them all over the place, or just if you're me, just laugh and they go everywhere. Or breathe. Okay. We got that one lidded. Let's see if I can get you guys even closer to the action here. Sort of. How's that? That's pretty good. All right, so I'm going to get a new thing. Yeah, this one I think will be pretty cool too. I like the color blue, purple, red. Looking pretty cool. Uh-oh, we got a thing here. Oh man, careful. Okay. Don't breathe. So that's pretty cool. I did about 3 scoops or so, and that's pretty well saturated. Not too bad there. You can still, you can still go more. I think I'm going to give it a couple more scoops here. I really want to get it pretty saturated, so that way you can just put on kind of a thin layer, and it'll just be the flakes basically. So this is pretty fun. Pretty fun. Man, so the temperatures have dropped here lately. There, I like that a lot better. You know, if you pull it out on the stick, it's mostly that glitter stuff. So 5 grams of resin, you need about 5 scoops. So like a good scoop with one of these small sticks. I would say that you could probably estimate, like, a scoop like that per ounce or per gram is probably not a bad ratio of flakes to resin. So let's go over here and start kind of painting on this stuff, see what's going on. JP, what's up, man? Let's see here, the regular super chat, man. I love it. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. What am I doing here? You got me all flustered, man. You got me flustered. Which camera do I go to now? Oh, man. All right, so let's, let me see if, oh, what did I just touch? Touch something on the camera. Try and get a good shot of this. I think I'm going to move this over. So this stuff is already kind of starting to set up in this jar. I think what I'm going to do here, let's see. I think I'm going to paint some on this on this one of this stuff that we were using before, because it's starting to kind of get jelly, and I just want to get it covered and not just waste this stuff. And while we're doing this, the other one will, you know, we'll give it some time to start kind of setting up a little bit, but I think this will be a good color for this one. I guess, I don't know, again, going back to what Ben uses, that UV resin, you know, it certainly is a lot smarter. If you can find a UV resin that is compatible with the resin that you're going to be casting over it, and to me what that means is I would want it to be able to, you know, apply it and then hit it with the UV light to kind of cure it in place, and then literally right away be able to cast it. That is what I would want, because that's the type of thing that I'm going to be doing here. I don't want to have to wait, you know, 24 hours or some other amount of time before I can actually cast this stuff. It needs to be right away. So if I can find something like that, that is the way to go, because, you know, at this point I could hit this with the torch and it would kind of cure it in place and we're done, you know, and move on. So that definitely makes the most sense for doing this type of work. And so, like I said, Ben's using an epoxy product, I want to say. I think it's the Just Resin product as his casting resin, and I'm not sure exactly which UV resin he uses. So I do want to mention that. Make sure to go and check out his channel, the dragon scales video, and I think he's done some other like dragon egg type things with the same type of, you know, process. But it's a pretty slick way of going. The only, like I said, the only question I have though is he able to cast it right away without any problems with adhesion or anything like that, because I ran into those issues myself. So that one's looking pretty good. What do you guys think about that? Where are we at here? I like that. Got to be kind of careful here. We'll just try and scoop some of this back in so we're not wasting our flakes. Don't want to waste the flakes, guys. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of, is that going to work? Kind of tough. It really needs to be sitting just like this. I don't know if there's a way for me to do that. If I put it like this, it runs down. See if I can get it to balance just right. Nope. 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 All right, well. Let's start pouring some of this stuff in here. Ooh, I really like this color. This, what was it? Blue, purple, red. I'm digging that color. Try and let that just kind of seep down into some of these little cracks and crevices. I don't exactly know what I'm doing. I just want to let everyone know. We're just kind of experimenting, seeing what happens with this. I definitely like this product. I think that this is going to be really cool to paint on top of burls. I've already seen it, you know, Ben already makes dragon eggs with this stuff and it's wicked, you know, so that's why I picked it up. Now we're just trying to kind of see what are some other things we could do with this. How does it work in other applications, you know? Can you guys see, are we on the right camera? It's always a good question to ask. Let's see here. I think I'm way behind on the chat. What are you guys chatting about? Oh, wow, I'm way behind on the chat. Nope. We got runs. I'm going to stick it back up in there. Who needs a brush? You can just use your finger and finger paint it on. Okay, so I don't know. I'll give you guys another shot of this real quick. Still looking pretty cool. This one's got some really interesting colors in it that I can see just by kind of moving it around. I do think that this one though is really looking good. So this was the forest. The first one was forest, purple, and red. And I'm really not seeing much red. Gotta be honest. I don't know where the red is in there. Still runny though. So let's grab some more of this stuff and can fill some more of these holes up. Yeah, I think this stuff, yeah, burl voids would be really cool. Really big cholla cactus. I mean, really, you can just do whatever with this stuff. Just drip it all over. Doesn't really have to be perfect in any way, I don't think, you know. I think this is going to be pretty interesting, though. I'm going to try and kind of fill this little hole up. It's pretty deep down in there. I'm kind of wondering if it's like going through it somewhere. Some cholla cactus isn't, like this has a pretty thick structure. Like it's not like it's dripping straight through. Some of them, you know, if you were doing this, it would kind of just drip straight through it. So just one little warning, I guess. All right, so this stuff is really getting gooey. Let's see if we can add a little bit more of this first one that we were using over here. Probably have about, I don't know, 5 minutes more working time with this before it really kind of starts really setting up, kind of, because it's already pretty thick. See, it's kind of more like honey at this point, which might be a better time to start painting this stuff on when it's at this point, because it's really not going to like move too much. This is like unicorn graffiti right here. Unicorn graffiti. It's just sparkling all over the place. All right, so let's see what's going on here. Yeah, definitely unicorns. We were thinking the same thing. What happened to the pumpkin? The pumpkin's on my lathe right now. I have it hollowed. I'm hoping to get it finished. I'm not going to do anything else on the live stream with the pumpkin. I'm just doing a video. The problem is most of the work that I need to do on it is just, it's going to not be very fun to watch live at all. It's all dusty, very dusty stuff where I'm going to have to just sit there and wear a mask, and pretty much I wouldn't be able to talk at all, or I'd just be like muffled, you know. So just doing a video. I'm hoping to get everything wrapped up. I'm hoping to get it pretty much finished this weekend. That's my goal. But we got everything pretty much carved out in the middle. I just need to do a little sanding on the inside. I'm not going to go to, I don't really care what the inside looks like, but I do want to kind of make it a little bit more pleasing to the eye than it is. Get some of those sanding marks out. I'm probably going to hit it with that craft coat stuff again. Try that out and just see on kind of a that's a pretty large piece. See if I can just hit it like once with it, and if it'll work pretty well as just, kind of a quick coat. It's called quick coat on something like that. I was pretty happy with the finish on that matrix blank, that handle with the craft coat stuff. I mean, it's dead simple. There's really just nothing to it. The one thing I will say though is that product is really not much different than, I don't think it's really much different than just a waterborne varnish, like General Finishes, they have a water-based or waterborne, like a polyurethane. And it really isn't anything different than that, I don't think. I don't know, maybe there is some differences, but it sure acted a lot like that. Looked like it, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if it's anything spectacular. There's other finishes out there that are probably very similar and work, almost the same as that stuff that you could use. But compared to like CA glue, there's just, in certain cases, CA is kind of hard, especially on large pieces or bumpy pieces, things that aren't really very flat. It's hard to get it on there smooth. And then you basically just put stuff on and then sand it off, and it's a downward spiral sometimes. And then spray finishes work pretty well. That's what I usually use on large pieces, but you still kind of have to, finish the finish. And I have gotten that craft coat on some things using a sponge brush, where it's pretty much done. Like, you don't even need to sand it. It's like a perfect coating, which is almost impossible with like a CA glue. And it's really sometimes very tough to do with spray lacquer or something like that. All right, so this one was drooling, so I'm going to kind of push it back in. So far, I like this stuff because I've used different color shift powders and things on, as like painting over things. And this stuff works pretty well being a bigger chunk of like the, color shifting stuff. I think that if you really load it into a small amount of resin, it's going to be almost just like a color shift paste that I think is going to work pretty well. One thing that I would also mention, compared to the ghost chameleon powders, I think is what a lot of manufacturers call them, or people that sell them. I think that's what Solar Color Dust calls theirs, or my blue to purple color shift that I sell, where it's like a white powder. The problem is it can turn your resin milky, kind of, depending on how much you add and all that stuff. So I think that this stuff, you probably won't really have that kind of an issue at all, ever. Because it's not milky in any way. I don't know how it could make anything do that. So that might be one advantage that this flake stuff has over the powder. I would most likely pick the flakes if I'm going to do something like this, where you're like painting it on top of something. So let me pick this one up and try and get you. I really like this color stuff. This stuff with the purple, what is it? Forest? Let's see. No, blue, purple, red, I think is what this stuff is. That's looking fabulous. I really like that. Well, no, that must be the forest. What's going on here? Did I mix them up? Shoot. Let me take my gloves off for a second. Now I feel like things are out of whack. No. Blue, purple, red. That's the one. That's what this one is. The second one that I was doing. Blue, purple, red. I'm looking at it in the jar, and that's well, it looks like there's some green. Blue, I'm going to say it must be the blue, purple, red. Maybe I should have only used one color. All mixed up. Okay. Let's see here. Forest purple. Yeah, I think the forest is the lighter green. Blue, purple, red is the darker green. I'm actually going to go to... Sorry guys, I'm getting confused here. They all kind of look the same at this point. So I'm going to go to Solar Color Dust and see if I can get a picture of what these two different ones look like. Chameleon Flakes. Well, that's tough to tell. Actually, I think the one I like is the forest purple red. I don't know, guys. I'm getting confused. They're all looking the same at this point. Let's see here. I'm just double checking the chat, see what's going on here. All right, so I have another cup right here, and it's already starting to kind of get gooey. So I figured we may as well just add some of this stuff to it, because I think we're going to have to wait less time to see what it actually looks like. This might have been, the tough part about doing these kind of painting stuff on is you got to kind of wait a while, especially if you're doing multiple different types. You got to wait for this stuff to set up. So I'm going to we're trying to kind of slam them all together at once. So this one is, I'm pretty sure, oh man, I have no clue which colors are which at this point. Gold, green, purple, and blue. Yeah, I think that's what that is. Yeah, that must be okay. So I think I got everything figured out. So that's forest. This one's blue, purple, red. Yeah, I like the blue, purple, red. That's the one that's this stuff that's unicorny. Totally unicorny. I like that, I think, the best so far out of those two. So let's pop this one open. Oh, come on. The resin's going to set up before I get this open. I think I definitely need to look into some, try some more of those UV resins out, because I really, that is really the optimal way to do this, as long as it's compatible with your resin. So this one looks like it's, man, I don't know. That kind of looks like blue, purple, red too. Once you get everything open and you're kind of looking at these, they all kind of look the same. So sorry about that. Definitely kind of messy. Okay. Switch cameras. Oh yeah, that's a good paste right there. I think we're gonna go inside of this one. Can you guys, oh, you guys can't even see that. Can I zoom out a little bit? Scoot back a little bit. So this stuff's a pretty good paste already. So it's gonna go on pretty quick. So we're gonna just kind of paint this around inside here. In Ben's video, he was talking about some place that he used to go as a kid, and like they basically would let you, I think they called them dragon eggs or something, I don't know. You can watch the video to see what's going on, but basically it was some place where they had geodes and you could crack them open and look at them, and he was saying that the piece that he made kind of reminded him of those geodes when he was a kid, and this does definitely kind of, you know, when you're painting these kind of crazy colored, you know, color shifting things in to like a cavity like this, it does kind of remind me of that too, because there was a place, some of you guys might know of Knott's Berry Farm. Is that something that you guys know? We used to go there and they had geodes that you could get, and they, you know, saw them open and all that kind of stuff. It was really cool. If you don't know what a geode is, it's basically just a rock, but inside there's crystals. And so it's kind of cool because it just, you know, literally it's just like this round rock, and then you have no clue what's going to be on the inside. And so you pick one out of a big bucket, and they saw it in front of you in half. And then you get to see, you know, all the different kind of colors, and they're all kind of different. It's pretty cool. I don't know what I used to have you know, I have one or two of them from when I was a kid. I don't know what happened to them. Probably in storage or something. I'm digging this color. It's like a blue purple kind of, I don't know. I think it's the green blue, what is this? Gold yellow / green. It's just, I'm not seeing any of that. That's whatever. We're just going to call this the blue one because it's mostly blue that I see. The one thing I know for sure is I have 4 colors. I'm just not sure which one out of any of those that I have is which at this point. I'm going to kind of paint on a little bit. I know we were going to do like one side is one color, but I don't really want to sit around and wait. I just want to kind of paint this stuff on all over the place. Here and there, willy-nilly. While we can. So I don't know, I didn't start a timer, but this Alumilite Clear Slow Set, you know, when you put it down to a small, you know, tiny amount, you got quite a bit of working time. I mean, even this one's still pliable. You know, we could still, you know, paste this on. This is that first one. It's still usable, you know, it's workable basically. Even though the actual, it had to have been 12 minutes by now. So, I'm going to add a little bit more of this since it's kind of a paste. It's looking pretty good though. What do you guys think of this stuff? I'm thinking it's pretty cool looking. So here's this first one that we did. Like I said, I think this one is the Forest Purple Red. Even though I'm really not seeing any purple or red in this. I don't know. It's not blue purple red. I know that for sure. Forest purple red. I don't know. Oh, we're missing. We got a couple of areas down in there. I don't know if you can see that or not, that are kind of barren. So we're going to add a little bit more of this green. We're just going to call this first one the green one, because it looks pretty green to me. Stuff's getting definitely pretty gooey at this point. Sorry, I'm not really getting very good camera shots of this. It's kind of hard to... Hopefully I'm on the camera a little bit. It's kind of hard to pay attention to what I'm actually doing and the camera at the same time. So that's looking pretty cool. I like that. All right, I'm going to set that one aside because I think it's done. I'm actually going to set it over on my silicone mat just so it doesn't stick to anything else. And let's see here. I kind of wipe some of this stuff off. That's looking pretty wicked inside there. So we got some of that green back in the back and the blue up front. I'm digging that. So let's take some of, let's see here, green. Yeah, that second color is awesome. I really like this one. That really, I'm thinking that might be the forest purple red. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get more of this stuff and figure out which one's which. And then here's this one. Got some drips going on here and there, but I'm just gonna kind of wipe that in. This is looking pretty cool. I think this is gonna be a pretty cool blank. All right, so let's add a little bit more blue to this one. All right, I think most of this stuff is actually setting up pretty well. Doesn't seem like it's really moving at this point, so I think may not be the best idea to put it upside down, but I think we'll be able to kind of flip it over and keep working on doing some different stuff with it soon. In the meantime, there's a little hole on the bottom here that I'm gonna fill with this blue, since we got it out. That's looking good. And then I think I'm going to put a little bit of blue in that area. Just to kind of mix it up a little bit. This is like Bob Ross at this point. I'm going to put a little happy blue in this crevice. Oh, that got a little out of control. That's pretty cool looking with that blue and the green. I am seeing a little bit of red or something in there. So like I said, I really, at this point, I have no clue which colors are which ones we're using are which. And I apologize for that. They just don't really seem to be kind of really matching what I had them set as. So might have got them a little bit mixed up. That's pretty cool looking. I like that blue and the green in there. I think I might do a little bit more of that on this side. Add a little bit of blue. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So, like I said, I'm going to set these over on the silicone mat for a second. I'm going to take my gloves off because they're all sticky at this point. And we're going to switch to a casting view because I'm going to, let's see here. Now, let's go for some 5-minute epoxy on this next test. And I'll just kind of show you what the difference is with this like working time. Because 5-minute epoxy is pretty fast. So, you know, I just have whatever's on hand. I got that, this is JB Weld brand, but I got it at Home Depot. So we're just gonna, you know, actually I don't need to weigh it or anything like that. We have one more color here that we haven't used yet that I think, I believe is gold, green, purple, blue. I don't know. They're all pretty cool looking colors, so I think that you're pretty good to go no matter what. One thing that I think that they have on their website, if you want to look at it in their pictures, they got a video that shows like nails, you know, like fingernails, women's fingernails. And so it kind of gives you that rounded view, so you can kind of see what the colors are in each one that you're picking. I really think forest purple red is the one that I really like, looking at the picture now. What was the other one that I had? Green, blue, purple, red. I want to see if I can find that one too. Okay, that's the one that's blue. Blue, purple, red is the one that we just did. The last one is blue. I'm looking on their website. In fact, I can let you guys see what's going on over there too. So that's the, why is there two of these? Let's close one. All right, so that's blue, purple, red. That was the third one that we did. And then forest, is this it? Where'd it go? Here we go. Forest purple red. I'm pretty sure that's the one that I really like. You know what I mean? So that was the second one. So now that I've figured that out, I'm going to try and put these in the right positions. And then gold, yellow, green, purple, blue, They got a lot of them. Look at all these things. I don't even know which one I picked now. Gold yellow. I'm not finding that one. I think the first one was gold yellow, green, purple, green, blue, purple. Whatever that is. So I'm going to switch to the turning view. Pretty sure the first one we did was this. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. And then this one that we're about to do is gold, green, purple, blue. So who knows? Here we go. So we're just going to squirt out some 5-minute epoxy. Maybe. There's part B or part A or part B. There's little glitters floating all over the place. Oh man. And then here's the part A. Oh, so I went and saw The Joker yesterday. Man, that is a twisted movie. Whew. It was actually pretty rough to watch, honestly. That one, it was kind of in your face. Psychotic, kind of. So just a little bit of a warning. That movie's pretty rough. I appreciated it, but it's kind of tough to watch. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting. I didn't really watch any previews before we went to it, and so I was. It kind of caught me off guard. I didn't expect how it was going to go. So, but it was pretty good. Okay, so we got our 5-minute epoxy mixed up pretty well. This one you got to move. You don't have time to be messing around like with the Alumilite Clear Slow set. There's really not much time to be messing around. So I would probably recommend, getting the jar open and ready first. Probably a better idea. I don't know how much resin exactly we put in there, so I'm just going to kind of keep dumping flakes in until I feel pretty good about it. One more for good measure. Man, glitter everywhere, guys. Literally, just floating around in here. And this stuff's a little bit thicker, the 5-minute epoxy. So it's already kind of at that pasty stage that we were at with the Alumilite. Thick, kind of honey state. And like I said, we only have, 5 minutes and it's like you're done kind of thing. So let's move this piece back over here. Switch cameras. Hopefully I was on camera there. I don't know. Literally glitter floating everywhere. Let's get that right there. I'm going to move this guy over. So I'm going to paint some of this stuff kind of in this area on this one. Right up in there, in the front. This one's also pretty green. I don't know if you can see that. I mean, it's looking very green. And I think, again, this one's the gold, green, purple, blue, I believe. Definitely looks kind of gold greenish to me. I am seeing some shades of blue in there, I think. And the light hits it just right. Hopefully I'm on camera here. I think I'm going to get one of those little brushes out, makeup brushes. I think it'll actually be a little easier to kind of get it in, deeper in this crevice thing. Kind of looks very similar to the first one, just on the surface here. And actually, I can get in way down in the deeper part of this hole with this brush also. So we're going to kind of come in from this area, paint it on. But this is going to go a lot faster. And like I said before, the nice thing about 5-minute epoxy or just using Alumilite, you can just cast right away. You know, you don't need to wait for it to, you know, fully cure or do anything like that. Once it kind of hardens up, you can just start pouring your resin, casting resin on top, and you're good to go. But I am going to look into that UV resin. I'm going to try and see if I can. We might have to do some experiments on the live stream with it and just see, you know, how does it really work out? Do we get bonding problems? What ends up happening, what I've had in the past, is you get this kind of cracking look, and it's just horrible. And it's either a bonding issue or it's literally like kind of cracking because it turns brittle somehow. And one of the biggest problems is you may not notice until you actually start turning it. And I think that the forces that are being applied can cause that to happen a little bit. So I've just generally kind of stayed away from that UV stuff and CA glue. Those two are the biggest problems. But tell you what, the UV resin is really enticing, and if you could find one that worked, this would go a whole lot faster. You know, it'd be much easier to, it's just workable until you say cure. And boom, it's cured. Sorry, I can't really keep up on the chat, guys. There's too many things going on. Trying to paint this stuff in here. I'm just a terrible live streamer. All right, so that's looking pretty good. Stop and kind of give you guys a look. See if I'm on camera here. I don't know. I'm digging this stuff. It's really looking good in there. I don't know that there's a whole lot of difference between the first green thing that I put on and the second. It pretty much looks the same. Obviously, the two in the middle, one of them is extremely blue, but that one that I'm pretty sure it's the forest purple red. That one is awesome. If you were going to go and get one of them, I'd probably recommend check that one out for sure. Oh yeah, so let's see here. I'm thinking, so I got a little bit of this left, so I probably shouldn't have taken my gloves off right then. Thought that I was gonna do something else, but I think what I'm gonna do is kind of put the rest of this green stuff in this other side of this one, and then we're gonna go back to that forest purple red one and have some fun with it. All right, so this stuff is already really setting up. Like it's like paste at this point. I need to kind of hurry up and get this stuff out of the cup and shoved into these. Oh, I'm grabbing. Oopsies. Just grabbing the blank where we already painted it on. So that's like the drawback, let's say, to 5-minute epoxy is, I mean, you got to move, and it's gonna start setting up pretty quick. That's nice if you're kind of in a hurry and don't really need a lot of time to do whatever you're painting, but you know, if you're just kind of putzing around like I'm doing, it's probably going to be a little bit problematic. And I think that's about all we got, because it's starting to really get like peanut butter at this point. All right. So let's whip up some of that really cool color one. Switch to the other casting view. Do I have regular set? Oh, I do. Huh. I've got regular set clear Alumilite. I forgot. I have a tiny bit of it left. So we're going to try the regular set and see how that does. We're getting some good experiments going here. Definitely enjoying the experimentation. I really like this product. This stuff has some really good, the Chameleon Flakes. It's got some potential, definitely. Lots of uses that I think are a little bit better than just the powders. You know, the mica powder Chameleon stuff. All right. So let's see. Got a little bit of drippage going on. This guy is kind of I'm just going to try and kind of push that back up. Because I just don't need all that stuff on the side. It's just going to basically get turned away. So I'm going to call this one done. So we just want to, we're hoping that the resin will just kind of quit running and set up on that. So what we're going to do now, so the first one that we used was Alumilite Clear, the slow set version. Now we're going to use the regular, which it looks like the same thing, but it's got a 5 to 7 minute working time. So I'm just going to mix up 10 grams total. Whoops. That's too much. I'm going through gloves like crazy today because got to quit wiping stuff off with my fingers. All right. Too many things going on to keep all these things up. Okay, so I went a little overboard on the first part A stuff, so I just want to take some of this out because it's just too much. All right, so we're going to go 7 and 8. 7 grams of part A, 7 grams of part B. Oh, my pump's not really working. Oh, there we go. 4, 6.5, 8. We went a little higher than 8. I'm going to add a little bit of part A because we went a little overboard. Perfect. Okay. So This stuff's going to be faster than the first one that we did. I think it'll work a little bit better in general. I think we're going to get more than like a 5 to 7 minute working time. Like it's normal working time. It's kind of factoring like 200 grams of resin total, I think is what they use for their numbers. So, you know, very small amounts, generally you're going to have a little bit more working time. So this might give us about, you know, 9 minutes or something like that of working time in a very small amount, maybe even a little bit more. I'm going to put 5 grams in this. Break off about 5 grams in another cup here. There we go. About 5 grams, and we're going back to the forest purple red, my favorite of the day. The colors just really popped in this one, and it wasn't like where it was just, it seemed like it was just one color. Like it's definitely got different colors going on that really show up. Okay, so we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe just a little bit more. There we go. What time is it? We're doing okay. The castings will go pretty quick. Once we get all this stuff ready, they're not going to be very tough. Yeah, I really like that one. It just, the colors really pop out at you. Seem more vivid. I'm going to put a little bit more of this stuff in there. So a couple more little scoops. I'm not getting as much per scoop because there's less in the jar. So that's looking good. All right, so I think I'm just going to let that sit for a minute. And I'm going to bring this guy back. I'm going to wait till this kind of starts to get a little bit thicker, because right now it's pretty runny. And it's just going to kind of run all over the place. So what do you think about this thing, though? I'm not sure yet about the choya. I think it's going to be cool, but I don't know. It kind of looks sort of not awesome yet. So I'm hoping it turns awesome soon. Yeah, the purple and blue one, this one looks good. I like this one a lot. Blue goes well with walnut. Yeah. That's true. I'm pretty sure the chat's more interesting than what I'm doing right now. Unfortunately, this stuff is just kind of like, whatever, you know. Painting resin onto choya. But pretty soon here, we'll get the casting going and everything will be pretty sweet. I think with walnut, as long as it's a nice, you know, deep color, pretty much anything goes with it. You're good to go. Now, one thing that I want to, I guess, while we're just sitting here waiting, doing nothing, I do want to show you guys the difference between, so these are the Chameleon Flakes. And again, this is different than the stuff that I sell on my website. I think this stuff is probably better for painting on surfaces, actually. But for the Twilight blanks, I have a feeling that this stuff might work a little bit better. I don't know. This is the stuff that I sell, the blue to purple color shift, and it gives you a kind of oh, dripping resin all over. It gives you a kind of aurora effect if you do it right, and I have a video on how to do that. But you're not really going to get that with these flakes. So let me just dump off some resin here, and I'm going to add some of the blue to purple color shift powder. And that, again, that's like a mica powder. Whereas these things are more like a glitter powder. The flakes are kind of more like glitter or mylar type stuff. So let me move this guy, move that guy. So this is just clear resin, and if you add, I'm just going to add a little bit of it to there. It's a little bit different. Obviously, it's much finer color, but it can kind of get a little bit milky if you add too much of it. And this stuff, the way it works the best is if it has a black background or a darker background. So like I add it to purple, add a little bit of purple dye in, and then add it to pine cones. And so the pine cone, it gives it this solid, opaque, kind of dark color behind it. And you get different effects. So depending on what you're trying to go for, you may want, more of a color shift powder where it's just kind of transparent, adds a little bit of that kind of aurora borealis effect. Let's add a little bit of black dye in here and it'll really pop those colors. I'm just going to try and keep this on one side, but you see how I don't know if that's showing up on this, but wrong way. I don't know if you can see that, but it really pops it when there's a black background. Let me switch to the other camera so I know that you can actually see what I'm doing here. And it's focused. See how the black part is a lot more, let me do it this way. See how that color really pops out back here? So if you can put a dark background behind color shift powder, this regular powder stuff, then it really pops out at you. The way they do this stuff this is actually the same exact stuff that they put on cars. It's car paint. So what they'll do is they'll put a black primer on, and then load up the color shift powder with clear coat, and then spray that on top, and that's how you get those cars that have color shift powder in them, or color changing cars. They look like something when they're coming at you, and when the light changes or they go past you, it changes. So kind of a cool thing. We can use that stuff for just resin casting, but like I said, knowing how things work, depending on what you're actually trying to do, you may pick one or the other. And I think that this stuff is really good for just painting on and not having to worry about having like a really dark background. It doesn't matter, Doesn't really matter so much because the stuff's already dark. So we're just going to fill some of these holes. I really like this stuff. We're going to call this Forest Green Purple, I think it was. No, Forest Purple Red. I think that's the one. That's the one, guys. Am I on the right camera? No. Good thing I was thinking this time. So now the third test that we want to do is we just want to add this stuff. Now the problem is there's only so much. You don't get that much in one of these jars, so it's kind of hard to really load up, resin. We'll have to try and make like one pen blank maybe, and just see what happens if we just add this stuff to a pen blank and turn it, just this stuff in clear resin. May not be the best test. It might be better to have a few jars of the same color to actually do this test, but I only bought one of each, so unfortunately. I think what we'll do though is the one thing, we have two colors that are very similar to each other. I mean, there wasn't that much difference between those two green ones. So I think what we'll do is we'll just dump the rest of those two green ones in. And what I'm going to do is use the rest of this, the one that we're using now, the forest purple green. I'm going to add a little bit more of this resin to our cup. Oh, it's starting to kind of gel up a little bit. So we don't have that much time. So the regular set is definitely, the regular set of Alumilite, definitely way faster than the slow set. I think we can all agree about that. If you need more time, the slow set's fine. You just got to kind of wait till it gets to a kind of a gel state. Before I would wait till it starts thickening up before you even start painting it on, unless you really need it to penetrate into something. But the regular set, it can go on pretty quick, and you'll be kind of on your way a little bit faster. We probably still have a good 2 or 3 minutes of working time with this stuff. It's not like it's like setting up, but obviously you can tell it's kind of sticky. All right, I think we're looking pretty good. Just got a little bit more right there. Got a little bit more resin. Let's see here. We got a little bit more flakes. So why don't we just, I'm dumping it. We're dumping the rest in. We used up all of that jar, guys. Wow. Now, like I said, the good thing about this is I was fairly pleased to see that each one of these jars, although it's not cheap, I'm not going to say that this stuff's necessarily cheap, but each one of these jars, I'm pretty sure was $5. So, it's not that much money. And this went a ways. I think, again, if we were going to like load up a full pen blank, if I was doing a tube PVC pipe for 3/4 inch, I mean, you're going to need, 50 grams of resin, maybe somewhere around there. You're going to need quite a bit of this stuff to really get it, in a pen blank like that, fully loaded. But still, you could get a pen blank. It's going to cost some money. It's not going to be cheap to make, but if it turned out cool, if this stuff worked in a pen blank, then not too bad. And if you're just painting it on the surface of like a burl, making one of those dragon egg type blanks, I think you could easily get away with just one of these jars for most things, unless it's a huge piece of burl that you're covering. I'm trying to kind of fill holes and do all this stuff, and I'm using a little bit more than you would probably use just trying to cover up a piece of burl. All right, so let's see here. Sticky fingers. Oh, there's one. We missed some holes over here. It's starting to kind of be a little bit more like peanut butter at this point. All right. I think we got this thing pretty well covered on most sides here. This side didn't really have any holes, so I didn't really waste any. But for the most part, we got it everywhere. It's looking kind of crazy. I was looking on the screen. Glittery. All right, so where was I just working? Right here. All right, I think we're good to go. So I'm going to put my 5-minute epoxy away here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go for the pen blanks. I'm going to kind of set this aside, let it, think about what it's doing here, set up some more. All three of these pieces that we just painted. First I'm going to get a drink, I think. And then what we're going to do is just dump a bunch of it in for a pen blank. We're going to do 1 tube. All right. So how are you guys doing? You hanging in there? I know this has been kind of a little bit boring watching me paint on resin, but now the fun part comes. So we like I said, I'm going to set these 3 pieces aside. We're going to just go for a single pen blank, and we're just going to dump a ton of the rest of the 2 other green and whatever colors. We're just going to dump them into the resin and fill up a pipe, a tube. So let's see here. Let me get a tube out. So what I'm using, just 3/4 inch PVC pipe. I have links to where I get clear PVC pipe if you need it. I personally, there's a couple reasons I use clear. One, I like to be able to see what's going on. There's no questions. It's not going to like overflow on you, out of the blue. But obviously, because I'm doing video, it makes it a lot easier to see inside if you just have a clear tube. But any PVC pipe will do. So if you can just run down to the Home Depot or whatever and pick up just regular white clear PVC or white PVC pipe, it's the same exact stuff. So first thing I'm going to do is hit it with Stoner mold release spray. I'm not dousing it necessarily, but you want to, give it a good shot. And then I can show you guys, for anybody that didn't get to see the new, these are the things that Chad is coming out with. They're silicone plugs. In the past, I used ones that were tapered like this, and that's fine. But the problem is they're tapering in, which means you have this flashing on the bottom of your blank down around it. If you use the flat ones, they go in there and they are not tapered. Let me get this thing in here, maybe. It's hard to do it up there. It's easier on a desk. Flat surface. So when you put this in the pipe, everything's flat, and it actually even still, I don't know if Chad did this on purpose, but there's like a little nipple in the center. So if you need to like center drill something or whatever, you know where the center of the blank is. I don't know. That may be useful to somebody, but it's nice because it fills up the entire tube and it's got a dead flat surface. So you're not wasting this extra kind of flashing on the sides. Now, for 3/4 inch pipes, the tapered ones, it's not like you're wasting that much resin, but you add up, let's say you did 10 of them, or 20 or something like that. It's going to start adding up with that extra stuff that you basically just need to cut off. The other thing is, if you did that with a tapered plug in a 3-inch one, you're wasting a ton of resin. I mean, that's probably almost a pen blank worth of resin that you're just wasting on this flashing stuff. So it's pretty cool. So Chad should have these. Honestly, let's see, what day is this? Friday. So next week, if they're not out already, they should be out next week. He's got them in stock. I think he was just waiting for them to get shipped, like his stock inventory. So he'll have them soon, and he's gonna have I think 1/2 inch, all the way up to like 4-inch, maybe, maybe even a 6-inch one. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be pretty cool. So anyway, let's see here. So what was I doing? So we're going to put this down here. What we're going to do here is we're going to dump a ton of that green. So I got 2 of these jars left over that were, I got to be honest, they look exactly the same. So they're just the green ones, whatever. We're just going to dump the rest of those in there. Now, one pipe, I want to say that I'm just going to mix up 60 grams of resin, I think. Well, let's mix up 50 grams of resin. I don't want to add too much resin. I want to have as much of the powder in the resin as possible. So let's go with 50. That ought to be more than enough. And let's see here. I think I got a pen blank worth of Alumilite Clear regular set still available to me. So I think we're just going to go with that. Nothing wrong with going with the slow set, but the regular set, sets up faster. So you can pull it from the pressure pot in an hour. Whereas for one single pen blank with slow set, I'd probably wait overnight, honestly. So let's see, what was something about hijacking something? Oh, it's fine. As long as it was helpful. I don't care. You guys have fun with the chat. If people are asking you questions, then answer away. No biggie. Okay, so let's see here. I'm getting my cup out. I got stuff kind of all over the place. I wonder if we can just tilt this one down. I don't think I've ever done that. That didn't really work. Yeah, I know that's too much. What about that? You can kind of see what's going on. It's not the worst. Okay, so I'm zeroing it out. And again, with this one, sorry guys, we don't need color. We're just gonna go for clear and then add a ton of that stuff in there. So, but the next ones we will be chatting with our super chatters to see what. So you guys, Anna, and I hope everybody's still here. Anna, Thomas, Jamie, and Jen, and Julie. So start kind of thinking, what you'd like to see with these things. This one's going to go in a 3-inch PVC pipe, so just kind of have an idea of what you'd want to do. And then I think what we're going to do is both of these pieces, what's going to happen is they're going to go in one of those 2-inch molds, kind of like this. So we'll kind of have a little bit of a gap between them, but they'll in the end, it'll be kind of, that's how they're going to sit. So just to let you kind of know about that. Obviously, we really want to be able to see inside. So it's going to have to be transparent. But, you guys know what you're doing. So you think of some cool stuff, and it'll be pretty sweet. So, all right, so part A. Make sure I zeroed that. Yep. So 50. We're doing 50 grams. That ought to be good for a 3/4 inch pen blank. So 25 grams part A. That might have been too much. That was a little bit too much. One pump is a little bit, it's like about 27, 28 usually. So we're just going to have to remove some of this stuff. Okay, 25, and then 25 grams of part B. I might go like a little bit, 25.3 grams, just a little bit over, but I don't want to add a whole lot of extra resin to this. We want as much, the least amount of resin and the most amount of this powder stuff. So 25, 19, getting to the bottom of the barrel there. 23, 25, add a little bit extra. That's good. Okay, so we'll put this down here. So we got our cup there. Now we can switch to this view since I don't have all that stuff in the way. There's our tube. So here we go. We're mixing up our resin. Scrape the sides, the bottom of the cup. And let's see here. That ought to be pretty good. So we're just literally dumping the rest of these things into the cup. And I would say that this is 2/3, at least 2/3 of a full one of these things is probably what's left in each one of these. So pretty messy. It gets all over the place. Tap it out. Tap it out. Cover it back up. For the heck of it. All right. So hopefully that was enough to like somewhat make this there. Yeah, that might. I think it's still going to be kind of clear. There's going to be some clear areas, especially once you like turn down it. Like if you're going to make a normal pen where you're drilling out the center and putting a tube in, I'm pretty sure that you're going to see some clear areas in this. If you were just going for a diamond painting pen or like a handle or something like that, I don't think it would be too bad. We'll just call this, it's about two of those, jars worth, 1.5 maybe to 2. I think for like a larger thing or maybe like a bottle stopper, I think this would work. I think it'd be okay. But we're gonna have to kind of see, is it really, how does it look? Because it's just looking green to me right now. So, and like I said, you're going to have to dump like 2 jars in to get a pen blank, pretty much. So that's quite a bit of resin, or I mean, quite a bit of this powder. So, if you think about it, that pen blank, you've already put, almost $10 into the pen blank, and that doesn't even include the resin. So just kind of think about that. But it may be a really killer pen blank, so we'll just have to kind of wait and see. It's just a waiting game now. All right, so there we have it. We got about a 5-inch or so. We should get about 5 inches out of that. Full-size pen blank. I think I'm going to put this one in this pot. I got a few other things to do before I leave tonight, so I got to be thinking about how I'm, which pressure pots I'm using and all that kind of good stuff. So, get this guy ready. I guess it really doesn't matter. I'm going to have 3 blanks regardless. There we go. Okay. Got that done. All right, so there's that. We'll have to kind of see. I don't know. I think it's going to look pretty cool, but it's going to be one of those. Is it really worth it? You could also just put there that glitter, just a glitter in. That's not necessarily like a color shifting one, which I don't know how well those are going to shift colors anyway. But this other one that we were using might be a little bit more impressive and maybe possibly more worth it, but. You'll have to kind of think about that, but you can get some pretty cool stuff with the glitter, and I think there might even be chameleon glitter possibly too. So that's the thing, is like I didn't even know about this product, and I've searched through their stuff a lot. Hey, thanks Mark, I appreciate it. Super chat. Okay, so the next one. What happened to the pumpkin? I saw that question. It is on my lathe right now. I cored it out, I hollowed it. And the next phase will be sanding. So I just kind of briefly showed you. There's not a whole lot to see. And I'm working on the video. So I'm hoping to get that pumpkin, get pretty much most of the work done this weekend. And then the video I'm hoping to get up next Sunday. So that'll just be a regular video on my channel. Okay, so next one. Let's see. Let's do the... I think these guys are going to be ready. So let's see if they fit. Let's turn this down a little bit. Does this stuff fit in here? No. It's a little bit too wide. So I need to go and sand the sides of this down so it'll fit in here. Probably this one too. We got sticky stuff all over the place. Yeah, that one's too wide as well. So I'm gonna go and let's see, what's this stuff? There's other random stuff going on. I'm gonna sand off the sides of these things. Let's see, this one, I need these two sides. I think I'm gonna put it in, no, I'm gonna put it in this way. So this is a 2" by 2" mold. I'm gonna put this piece in like this, and I'm gonna put this piece in kind of like this. So we'll get a little bit more of another little kind of cavern just between the two pieces there too in the blank. So I'm gonna head over to the sander. We are gonna, now this stuff is still not like fully set up. So I need to kind of watch out a little bit with that. Realistically, it would be much better to let this kind of set up a little bit more. But what I'm going to do is just try and scrape off the sides of this with like kind of a scraper. Just get the sticky stuff off, because all I need to do is just sand this and this. The rest of it doesn't really matter. So let's set up the camera. I'm going to be over there. And there. Okay. And then this one, that one's, again, this one I'm just doing the sides of, so there's really nothing on there, and there's just a little bit of resin on that other side, so shouldn't be a problem. First things first, gotta get my mask on. And I'm gonna put you guys on mute while I do this, so I can turn on the dust collector and it's not really loud. All right. So, I think I'm going to take this thing too. Put that down like that. All right, so I'm going to put you guys on mute, and we're going to get this going here. right, I think we're good. Now, one thing that I will say, and I knew this was going to happen, because the stuff wasn't fully set up, you know, you get some kind of dust. You can get some dust in there, here and there. So that's really, you know, you really want to wait. Really, the best thing to do would have been to have these things the right size before we started painting them. But whatever. We didn't. So hopefully this fits now, yeah. So, but they fit in there now pretty well. This guy can actually just be shoved, and I don't think it's going anywhere. This one, we're going to need to hot glue down. So let's get the hot glue gun out and ready. Everything's sticky. Everything's sticky, guys. Oh man, so tonight Gretchen's cooking a like this special enchilada dish. Oh man, I'm already hungry. It's gonna be awesome. It's like the kind of like the sour cream enchiladas. Oh, gonna be wicked. So just to show you guys, this one I got dust on the inside there. I don't know if you can see that, but it kind of sucks. But I think that once we put more resin on top, I don't think it's going to be really that big of a deal. But probably better off to make sure that whatever you're going to be casting fits where it needs to go, so you don't have to sand things at the last minute. My mistakes can be you guys's, I don't know, something. You've been up since 4 a.m. Oh man. I've been up since I woke up. Me too. Oh man. I know, I'm telling you, it's going to be wicked. So they're super not good for you. So we like almost never have them. Because we try to eat fairly good at home. The nice thing is if you cook at home, generally you can pick better for you ingredients. And if Gretchen's really good at cooking, so she can cook things that, you know, may be healthy but still taste excellent. But these things, so we don't have them that much, these enchiladas, because they are absolutely not good for you. And but they are so good. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so we got our hot glue gun. It's pretty well ready, I think. I'm just going to put a couple little dots on the bottom here. I guess let's just make a line, so it doesn't really go anywhere. And we're just going to shove this guy down in here. Hopefully I'm on camera, kind of. And the nice thing is hot glue will kind of hold things in place in HDPE, but it'll just pop right off. So it's kind of the best of both worlds kind of thing. I'm going to try and actually I'm just going to push this back to the edge. I wanted it to be fairly close, these two pieces, but I think that that's fine. I don't really want this square gap of where resin needs to fill up on the end of this piece. So I would have had to move this one. It would have made sense to move it a little bit forward, but it's pretty good, I think. No complaints. So next step, I'm going to toss this in the oven. Now, let's see here. What we're going to do though is we're actually going to cast this one first. So is Julie still here? Is there any way that I can see who's here? I know there used to be a way. I could do that on participants. No, that doesn't tell me. Let me know if Julie's here, because Julie gets first shot. She was the first super chatter today. And she will have to tell me, are we going to do clear resin, or are we going to go for a transparent but colored resin on this one? And we're going to do a 3-inch PVC pipe is what we're going to cast it in. So that's the question to Julie, if she's here. If not, then it's going to go down to Jen. And so you'll have to answer that question. I'm going to need to get my... So what I was saying is we're going to toss this one in the oven right now and let it warm up. It'll warm up both the burl. It'll help to kind of finish kind of curing that stuff, the resin that we put on there. And then this one, I actually need to pull my hot glue gun out. I forgot. This one we need to get ready. So first thing we're going to do is, I think this side, let's see here. We're going to just basically, we got like little resin chips that are getting stuck to the outside of this. No, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it does matter. Get off of there. Okay, there's more stuff. Got to kind of watch where you're sticking the piece of wood. Another thing that I didn't think of off the bat, it would probably be smart to like flatten this out. Now it's pretty flat. I thought I had a flat side on this, but there's a little chunk, this little thing going on right here. So I'm just going to go and kind of I think I'm just going to go and kind of sand it off real quick. All right, that ought to be good. And then I'm just going to hot glue that down to that piece of HDPE. All right, so we're just going to mount it on there. And then we're going to put our PVC pipe around it. So, I don't think my hot glue gun's ready yet. I unplugged it. Let's see here. Jen's here. I'm not seeing Julie though. Unless I missed her. Did I miss Julie? Shoot. I got resin all over my gloves. Makes playing with the mouse a little bit problematic. Yeah, I don't think that Julie's here. So, Jen is here. Let's see here. Pink is a tough one, unfortunately. Let's see, where's Jen at? Yeah, I don't have, well, okay, we can do pink. It's just, but I'm going to use red dye. I'm not going to use the fluorescent pink from Alumilite because it becomes cloudy. So what I'm going to do instead is we're going to go with a pinprick of red, basically, and it'll end up looking pink, kind of. So that's an interesting idea. I like that idea. That's a good one. Going with the pink. Yeah, definitely you want to spray your pipe first, but I'm not worried about the pipe right now. First step, we need to get this thing hot glued down. I'm just putting a liberal amount here. Hot glue on the bottom. Again, it's not a big deal. I don't really even think this thing is necessarily going to float much. But it's much easier if the thing just stays in place, you know. It just kind of makes things easier. Now, the next step is we're going to just, you know, glue this pipe down. So you definitely, if you're doing Alumilite or epoxy in a pipe, you definitely want to use a mold release on it first. Especially these big ones, otherwise it can really kind of get stuck in there. One other thing that I want to show you guys, I don't know if you can see it on this camera. See all that junk in there? That's like dirt or something, I don't know. We don't want that, especially if you're going for clear or transparent. You need to make sure that your mold doesn't have a bunch of junk and things that are going to fly up in it. So first thing I'm doing, I'm blowing the majority of that stuff out, and I'm gonna, yeah, so I think I got pretty much all of the junk out of there now. So now I'm going to hit it with the Stoner mold release spray. And again, I'm being somewhat liberal. I want to get all surfaces of this thing, but you don't need to, it doesn't need to be running down the sides of it. You don't want to do that. Just a good coating all over the sides, which you probably can't really even see anything on this, but got it pretty good. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do is I just want to wipe off the, whatever surface is going to touch the HDPE. I'm going to actually wipe that off with acetone, just to make sure that we didn't get any mold release stuff on there or other contaminants that would maybe cause the bond with the hot glue to be not perfect. We want to make sure that we get this sealed up. You do not want to leak in the bottom where you glued this thing. So we're all sprayed. We cleared off the bottom. Now it's just a matter of dropping it down. And I'm going to I think I'm going to put this, I don't want it totally like centered. I think I want it to be kind of on one side. Now, the other thing I want to look at is where, we got that cool color kind of everywhere. So this piece of choya is kind of banana shaped, I guess, or curved, So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put the outside of that curved side kind of closer to the wall so that we have kind of an inside when you turn the blank. I'm thinking whatever we make out of this, you're going to, I don't know, it may have to just be kind of a sculpture, but I'd rather try and keep some of this intact if possible. So that's my game plan, at least. I have no clue what we're actually going to make with this blank or whatever, but that's my thought process on it. So I'm going to get another couple glue sticks ready, because I'm going to waste a lot of glue, but definitely you want to glue the heck out of this thing. Oops. Oh no. It all came off. Shoot. Oh, come on. All right, so there must have been something on the surface of this. So I'm actually going to hit this with a little bit of denatured alcohol. Kind of knocked it too, so that didn't help. All right. Now, we're going to re-glue this choya chunk. Right there. And then, drop that there. So, see if we can get you guys a good angle on this. I'm just gonna I am gonna give this an extremely liberal amount of glue. What I do is I'm going to put on a thick bead all the way around once. And then I'm actually going to put on a couple more beads of it. I would much rather waste hot glue, which is really cheap, than resin, which is not cheap. One other little tip that I'm not going to tell you how I know this. Do not, once you've poured your resin, do not pick up your mold by the pipe. Pick it up by the base. Otherwise, you may just pull the pipe off and the resin will just spill everywhere. So don't ask me how I know that one. Glue it good. I'm telling you, man. You got to glue it good. The HDPE, it doesn't really matter. This is 1/2 inch, which I would probably recommend just going with the 1/2 inch, I mean, if you have a piece of 3/4 though, sitting around, it really doesn't matter what thickness you use for the base of this thing. So now what I'm doing is I'm just coming around again and we're adding another bead on top of that first bead, just in case. Give it a little bit more grippy. And I'm also going to add another bead at the base of it so that if it does somehow, the resin seeps down, you know, underneath somehow, I don't, you know, just worst case scenario, if somehow the resin starts kind of creeping out from below, then I add this other little one on the bottom to kind of hopefully dam up any other leaks, which, to be honest, I haven't really had any problems other than what I was saying about picking up the pipe. When you're putting it, like when you go to put it in the pressure pot, if you pick up the pipe instead of the base of the thing, that is going to be problematic for you. That's when I had the problem. I haven't really had any issues. You could probably get away with just one of those, you know, nice beads around the bottom, but like I said, hot glue is so cheap that I really just don't care. You know, there's pretty much nothing coming out of this thing. So we got that guy ready. Oh, knocking things all over the place. We're going with a transparent pink. So what I need to do now is I need to write down my notes. And a lot of people always ask what I put in here, so I'm just going to kind of tell you what I'm writing. So today is, number one, I'm going to write the date. First I'm going to turn my pen on. 10, 11, 19. We're doing Chameleon Flakes, so that's kind of the topic for today. And number one casting, we're doing 3-inch PVC pipe with choya. So this is probably going to take, let's see here. I want to say that a 3-inch pipe that's about 6 inches tall, that's it's been a while since I've poured one of those, but I want to say it's about 700 grams, maybe. Maybe not that much. I'm going to look it up. I don't want to waste the resin. I've done a few of these, so I just need to go back. This is why I have notes for when I run into this and I'm like, well, how much? Yeah, 700. I was actually pretty close. So 650 maybe, something like that. But we got a pretty big chunk of choya in there, so I'm just going to mix up, I don't know. I'm going to mix up 600 grams. I'm not sure exactly how much. So I'm going to do 300 of part A, 301 of part B. Again, when things are transparent or clear, I just like to add a little extra part B to make sure there's no... what can happen is if you, for some reason, if the end mixture ended up part A heavy, you can have little white streaks in it. So I just add a little extra part B. It doesn't harm anything. It doesn't change the formula or anything. You're good to go, but it's going to kind of guarantee that you got that dead clear, you know, whatever. So we're going for pink. I'm putting that in quotes, and we're going to add a pinprick of red dye. Now, one way to get kind of pinks and these like kind of lighter colors of things is using the alcohol inks. Those things are less, what is the word that I'm looking for? Concentrated. And, you know, you can get away with, they already have colors that are like, you know, watermelon and these kind of lighter colors. Generally, if you want to lighten a color, you know, a dye or something like that, if you're using like acrylic paints, you need to add white to it to make it, you know, lighter, black to make it darker. The problem is if you add white to the red, then it's not going to be transparent anymore. White is not a transparent color. So what we're going to do instead, because Alumilite dye is highly concentrated, what you can do is just add a very tiny amount of the dye to your resin, and that'll give you a little bit lighter color. So it should work out pretty good. And we should get a pretty, you know, a pinkish color. It'll be good to go. So we got our cup zeroed. We're going to add 300 grams of part A. Okay, let's see where we're at. 280. 293. This might be too much resin, I don't know. But again, I generally, if I had to pick, I'm gonna pick being a little bit slightly over, then I don't want to be under, you know. Alumilite's kind of tough because there probably would be enough time for me to remix some more alumilite. This is one advantage I would say over slow setting like epoxies and stuff. If, you know, you can really just keep adding stuff. It's not like it's going to set up on you. Make sure I zeroed that. Alumilite, clear, slow set. For something like this where there's not a lot going on, it's one color, you know, I could probably mix a little bit more if I was a little short on this one, but many times you're not going to know. And there's really no time to mix more, especially if you have more colors that you're trying to keep separated. So anyway, I'd rather just overshoot than undershoot in most situations. See where we're at. 200. We're going for 301. Oh, that was close. 300.7. Oh man. 301. Okay, so I'm going to mix up my resin here. I'm going to have some fun. So how many people in the chat here, this is like you haven't actually done any resin casting yet? Like you're about to jump in, or I don't know, you know, maybe you've only done like one casting, like you're like brand newbie at this stuff. Who's out there? I'll try to keep an eye on the chat so that I can see if you follow up, so I'll see it. I'm just curious. I know there's a lot of people, but you know, there's a lot of people that have done some resin casting. Like it's not like they've only done one, or you know, they've done a few, so they're not total noobs. I'm just always curious, and don't feel like shy or anything like that. I'm just curious. I think it's great, all the people that are getting into it. So I was just kind of seeing what's going on. Kevin, yeah, right. No. 4x4. Oh, that's cool. You've only done one, Jen? I don't believe that. So much for ending early for enchiladas. Yeah, no doubt. Well, we're almost done. This is going to go pretty quick once we get going. There's Gretchen. Gretchen's going to make the awesome enchiladas. I never said that I was going to end early for enchiladas, I don't think. Or if I did, I was joking. I didn't know what was going to happen because I didn't even know what I was going to do for the stream until I got here. Okay, so this is, and I know there's no label on it, but all it is alumilite red, alumilite dye red. So what we're going to do here is add, got a little bubble. We're going to just keep adding a tiny bit of this red. And I mean, I'm starting out really, really tiny. I just barely put anything on there. And I'm just going to kind of wave that around. And then stir it in. Now, I don't know if you can see that. It's a little bit pink, but I think that this is probably not pink enough, right? So we're going to go back to our toothpick, and we're going to put a little bit more on there. I'm just going to wave it around a little bit. And so we can just sneak up on a tint that we want for, you know, transparent colors. But like I said, if you want kind of the easy route, it's pretty easy to just go with those alcohol inks because they and whatever the dye looks like is pretty much what you're going to get, because they're so the opposite of concentrated. They're so non-concentrated that I don't really think that you can add, like, really alter the actual color of it, because you'd have to add like 10 bottles of it to alter the color. Now that's pretty pink. What do you guys think about that? It's kind of like a grapefruit right there. What are you thinking? Quick, everyone leave while dark is away. Yeah. Now, the one thing about this, if you pulled out the stick, there's really no tint to it. You know, for pen blanks, that would not be enough dye. But as long as you keep it in, you know, a fairly thick amount, then, you know, you're going to have that color. Looks good to Chris. I'll tell you what, let's add just one more little bit of it. Just get it a little bit darker. I like this, but I think that I'm going to say like one little bit more. I know, one more cut. I'm just going to take one more cut and then the thing blows up in your face, right? I think we'll just do one more pass. And I think that'll get us exactly, yeah, that's looking a little bit more, just, I'm looking down through the cup and it just feels a little bit more solid pink. I think we're going to be good. The reason that I did that is because we're going to have areas where, you know, behind the choya, it's fairly thin. It's not going to be super thick like in this cup. I think you get kind of a compounding effect in a cup like this. So, pink grapefruit, yeah. Stop, you're going to mess it up. Well, at least you guys would hopefully learn from my failures. All right, so let's get this on camera here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour it, and I'm shooting for it hitting pretty much the bottom of the mold and let it, you know, flow up. All right. And it can, you know, kind of pour off of the little choya thing, but you want to go from the bottom up, let it fill. And I think what I'm going to do is go about halfway. And I was talking about doing this with the pumpkin, but I got all frantic and crazy when I was doing that. I think I'm going to kind of move it around and try and make sure that it's getting into all the little crevices of the choya, hopefully. Now we've probably kind of, you know, like, I probably filled some areas. There may be a couple little void things in the center of that choya because of the way that I did that, but anyway, I just wanted to kind of make sure that we're not trapping air too much in this thing. There's a little hole on the top of this thing that I'm going to try and kind of fill. I'm just going to pour a little bit, thin stream. There we go. I think it goes through somewhere, so I think we'll be okay. So we're going to go and fill the rest. It's kind of bubbling out that hole in the middle. So I'm going to stop and kind of tap it a little bit just to promote bubbles coming out, if there are any, and not trapping down in there. The pressure pot will pretty much take care of everything, but every once in a while you can get like a void area where the pressure pot's not going to get rid of a void. Oh, that's pretty cool looking. Just looking at the side of this thing. Let's see. Let's get you guys down kind of close. See how the little sparkles are just kind of popping through there? I don't know if you can see that very well in there, but it's pretty cool looking. Let me see if I can. I think this is going to be pretty neat looking. There's a little enchantedness going on inside there. Kind of cool. All right, so one thing that I will mention is you want to put something flat on the bottom to put that HDPE on. So what I'm going to do here is I have this little disc. Whoa. I have this little disc thing that I'm going to just drop in the bottom of my pot. And then, again, pick up from the bottom. Drop it down in there, and we're good to go. So we got the other one cooking in the oven. And let's see here. We got Anna. Is Anna still here? this thing ready to rock. We got Anna, Jamie, and Thomas. And Mark. And I don't know. We gotta go in order. So is Anna here first? Start with Anna. And we have resin left over. Let's see here. I'm trying to think. Well, I kind of screwed the pooch on that, so I think what we'll do is I should have dumped that into a PVC pipe or something before I pressurized that pot, because I only have so many pressure pots available. But, oh, that didn't work. Let's see. Well, I got this little tray of doohickeys here. We got more resin than that, but we'll just kind of pour this out. There's going to be air bubbles in them, but they're just little pendants. I don't know how, like I was saying, I don't know how thick. Oh, that was too much. Oops. Got a little excited there. I'm getting a little. Oh. Yeah. I don't know how well the pink's going to come out on something this kind of thin. But we'll just have a look at them. I think I'll just kind of put that off to the side right there. We got a lot of resin left over, but I got to be honest. We got to move on because there's enchiladas at stake. I like enchiladas a lot more than resin. All right, so that's what I did with those guys. They're just going to sit to the side. Next up, is Anna still here? I don't see Anna. Okay, so is Thomas still here? Thomas Tate. Yeah, it's kind of watermelon-y. I don't know. Sprinkle glitter in them? Yeah, that's true. Let's see. I am looking. I'm not going to put glitter in them, though. To be honest, I have 50 billion of these pendants, and I don't do anything with them, so it's okay. Thomas here? I've moved on already. I've moved on. I'm sorry. No JP. Oh, man. Mark's here, though, right? All right, Mark. What color are we going to dump in here? So we got all kinds of craziness going on. Should be pretty fun. I hope Mark's still here. Is Mark here? If Mark's not here, we're going to have to go with Gretchen, I think. What do you guys think about that? Let me know, what color are we going to do with that other one? You made the chicken. All right. Oh, man, I don't even think Mark's here. Jeez. How's it going, Scott? Put them in a bowl and turn them in. That's true. Oh, there he is. Oh, Mark likes the blue. I knew it. All right. I thought you might go with blue. So let's go with the ocean blue. That one's a really good one. Like, it's not very dark. Like the regular blue from Alumilite dyes, that stuff is super, you got to really be careful, you know, depending on what you're trying to do. If you want to be able to see through it, you don't want to add too much at all. Ocean blue is a little bit more forgiving in that manner. So number 2, let's see here. What did we do? 3-inch PVC pipe. I guess number 1 was actually the pen blank that we did, but whatever. All right, so 2-inch burl hybrid. Pen's about to die. So that thing, those things take about 400 grams if I was trying to fill that thing up from the bottom. So let's just mix up 300. Let's mix 320. think that might be enough. So that's what, 160 times 2. And we're going to go with ocean blue. We can just go with clear too, just to let you know. All right. Dunkin' Junk pendants. Someday I'll do that, but not, like I said, not when enchiladas are happening in 5 minutes. Okay, so actually I'm going to leave that there for now. So we're going to mix up 320 grams of resin, 160, and then I'll probably just do 161 since it's going to be transparent. So we'll zoom that out a little bit. Actually, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to switch to the overhead view. Watching the Cardinals and the Nationals. Yeah, not for me. The Dodgers ruined everything. I'm not watching anything at this point. I don't have to watch any more baseball, so I've freed up my evening schedule. $152, 57. It's moving around 60. And then we'll go, I got to zero this out. One thing, if you forget to zero it out, just remember that you can also kind of just go to 320 or, double whatever you need. I think that's one of the nice things about Alumilite. That 1-to-1 ratio is so forgiving for in some cases. So we need 161, 154 right there. Got 160. Oh, we went a little bit over, so I'm going to add a little bit of extra part A, and we're going to call that good. All right. Somebody said do the math, and I would actually rather zero it out just to make sure. A lot of people ask me, how accurate should you be? And I always try to be as accurate as possible. So I actually don't really like just going up to 320 on that. I'd rather zero it out completely and then start over on the second part. But if you happen to forget, then you can just do the math. And 1-to-1's a lot easier math than some of the odd, weird ones like 2-to-1, 3-to-1. I've seen some really odd, weird, some resins have a weird weight, ratio. So, all right, so ocean blue, we're just going to add 1 drop. I think that might be a little bit dark, maybe. So I'm going to be very, very, well, this stuff actually, the tip on this is pretty, I forgot. I didn't open the tip on this specific bottle. So we're actually going to go with a toothpick. But we're going to put a good amount on there. That would have probably been a small drop from my other normal bottles, but that's looking pretty good. What do you think of that? Oh, you're not on that camera. Where's my camera crew? Look at that. That's pretty nice looking, huh? Boom. So all I did was I just added if I would have just sat here and just got the smallest amount to drip out of one of my normal ones that I've kind of cut the top off. That's a tough one. That's a tough one to say. I have a very specific way that I do my bottles, so they all kind of work the same way. What I put on there was just a kind of a thick line of blue on that toothpick. So sorry I didn't catch that on camera, but I think it'll be okay. You guys will be okay. All right, and then this is the fun part. I love these like cavity ones. Have all these different little cavities going on and all that. So, like I said, again, you want to start kind of from the bottom. So I'm trying to get it down, you know, down in the bottom there. I'm going to come over here because there's a big cavity on this side. And then just let it basically kind of flow through. Eventually the two sides will kind of meet up. There we go. I'm going to stop here. And I'm just going to, there's a few different little kind of cavities and areas and things going on. And I just want to kind of make sure that air bubbles are freely coming out of some of these areas. And the resin's getting into all those areas. This can just kind of help out a little bit. Getting it kind of, getting that resin like moved all throughout the mold. So I did a lot better on calculating this one. Pretty close. Okay, that is filled to the brim. I'm just gonna kind of tap it a little bit, see what's going on here. There's not a lot to like look at inside here necessarily. I mean, I can't really see anything either, but I think it's going to look pretty wicked on that, you know, the little cavity areas inside those burl chunks when we get it all done. So let me get things out of the way here. We're going to kind of turn you guys, move that there, turn you guys around so you can kind of see the pressure pot happening. Toss that down in, and we are good to go. We made it, guys. And I'm going to be taking this up to 70 psi. My pots can go, they're rated to 80 psi, so I just go up to 70 in them. And boom. All right. So, let's get my camera back in order here. Get this air hose off. So for the two big ones, I used Alumilite Clear Slow Set. And so I'm going to, you know, if I'm leaving the shop basically at this point, but if I was, you know, if I poured this in the morning, I would wait probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. It's about 70 degrees in the shop right now, which is a little bit on the lower end of things. So I would probably just give it the full, like 2.5, 3 hours for those two bigger ones, and they should be ready to be pulled out of the pressure pot. If you're using a Alumilite Clear regular set, like 45 minutes to an hour, and they're good to go. You can demold them. So, and then that pen blank, we used regular set on that. I would probably leave that in for maybe a couple hours for that in this, like I said, temperature. And then you're good to go. But generally, Alumilite Clear Slow Sets 2 to 4 hours or so for the demold time. So depending on how much resin you've actually poured in the mold and what the temperature is, you know, that'll kind of make that fluctuate a little bit. But larger stuff, generally you can kind of go for the lower end of that range, and you're good to go and ready to pull it out. So anyway, I hope you guys had fun. I know that it was a little bit boring just watching me paint burl things with that stuff, but I think it was hopefully, you know, useful for you guys to kind of see how that product worked. Again, it's called Super Chameleon Flakes. And I got it again on solarcolordust.com. It's not even working. There we go. Super Chameleon Flakes. And I think that my favorite out of all of those, we tried 4 of them. I'm pretty sure it was the forest purple red combination that I liked the best. It just seemed to pop. And I'm sure there's lots of them like that. It's just kind of, you know, trying a few different ones out and seeing which ones you like. And then, you know, whatever kind of project you want. But it worked pretty good. I really liked it. I definitely want to play with this a little bit more, try out some more colors basically. And do some kind of dragon egg type things. Those things are really fun to make. So We'll probably be looking at this down the road. I'll probably be making some blanks and short runs with this stuff too. So pretty fun. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to tell you guys. We got shirts, so make sure to check out my Teespring store. On normal videos, there's like a little shopping thing below the video that you can check it out. We got all kinds of different colors for Dunkin' Junk shirts, socks, and sweatshirts. So check those out if you want to pick up some Dunkin' Junk merch. But I thank you guys all for joining the fun. Be looking this Sunday. I'm hoping to get the pumpkin done and the video edited this week so that next weekend, let's see. So not this Sunday, not in like 2 days, but like I guess next Sunday. Be looking for the pumpkin video, and it should be pretty cool. So I hope you guys have a great. Is that Ben? Oh, Ben was here. Nice. So go check out Ben's channel too. He's got some good videos. Thanks for the discount code and for the ideas, Ben. I appreciate it. So I will see you guys all next Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific time. One other thing, if you are a Patreon supporter of mine, make sure you go over to the Patreon page and let me know what time. I think it's in the Shredded Money Bowl video. I don't know. One of the posts that I have over there, I need to know what times would be good for you guys for a live stream for patrons only. So if anybody's a patron over here that's in the chat, head over to my Patreon page and let me know. All right, so I will see you guys all next Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you for hanging out tonight, and I will see you guys all on next Friday.